He has one Stoneforge Mystic to go along with 2 Umezawa's Jite that he can search for to be able to gain life in the matchup. But one of the big things that he's going to be able to do is with a large Knight of the Reliquary attacking Patrick, he's going to be able to target it with Swords to Plowshares, which he also has 4 copies of, to gain a substantial amount of life if it comes down to that.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick is just going to be trying to goldfish him. You know, just put together enough burn to deal 20 on turn 4. So it looks like Ross is mulliganed to 5. Not a great start. Patrick on 7. Patrick's deck, almost every single card is the same thing. So if he kept his 7, Ross has got about 4 turns to try to find a Jite or a Plow.
As we see a Karakas and a Mother of Runes from Ross on his multi 5.
Now it may also be that Ross is just aggressively mulliganing, knowing that he can't, you know, he can't just sit around. He has to find one of his meaningful cards.
He doesn't Goldfish as well as Patrick does, of course. This isn't a deck, Maverick isn't a deck that's going to kill an opponent on turn 4 or 5. It's mostly based on disruption, but the disruption that Maverick has is not especially strong against burn.
Absolutely. What do you think of Patrick's decision to go with 3 copies of each of 4 different red fetch lands? He's usually a 4-4-4-4 kind of guy.
Gotta keep him guessing.
All right, I like it.
So we see a Lightning Bolt take care of the Mother of Runes, and then Patrick is just going to pass back.
Yeah, my understanding is the vast majority of Patrick's time is spent shuffling from fetch lands. So he doesn't really have priority much else of the time, right? So what do you make of Lightning Bolting Mother of Runes there?
I'm a little surprised. Honestly, I thought that maybe we would just see
3 to the dome?
Yeah, just start going upstairs as fast as possible, especially with Ross on a mulligan of 5 as we see a Windswept Heath here.
Patrick may have a bigger hand, you know, a hand that wants to go a little bit long, and he probably doesn't want to get into a spot where the Mother of Runes can sit there protecting, you know, like a Knight of the Reliquary.
Little surprised to see Ross getting a Savannah here instead of a basic force with the Windswept Heath, simply because of Price of Progress.
Oh, that's a very good point, because he certainly doesn't need 2 white. That's just a mistake.
Double white cards looking over his deck list.
0 in the main.
0 in the main and Elspeth in the sideboard. So, as we see a Flame Rift here from Sullivan. Flame Rift, of course, the Nemesis common, deals 4 damage to each player.
That is the clearest sign that you mean it.
So Ross's hand does have 2 Knight of the Reliquaries and a Noble Hierarch, so he's going to be able to get a clock online. It's going to be a little bit slower than he likes, but it doesn't take Knight long to really get out of control.
But this Knight is a 3/3, and Patrick Sullivan's deck is very capable of dealing 3 damage, with Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning being the most obvious, but Rift Bolt also able to dispatch a Knight if Patrick has another land, which he does.
So you're going to draw a 4th mountain in this game.
I'm going to see a Rift Bolt.
I think we're going to see a Vortex.
Sulfuric Vortex.
So the race is officially on here.
Absolutely, because this Knight is going to get out of hand pretty quickly, right?
It's kind of a question of, does he want to activate the Knights, or does he just want to say attack for 4 with this Knight because it is auto trigger, play another Knight, then I have 2 3/3s in play, and then can I race the Sulfuric Vortex? Because I'm not sure if he has enough time to do activations and really just get going that way.
Well, the only reason I suggest activating it 1 time, this gives him an extra mana to get that Noble Hierarch in play.
Okay.
And it also lets him put both Knights up to 5/5s instead of 3/3s.
Okay.
So by missing 3 damage now, he's going to deal 4 more damage next turn.
Okay.
Not to mention getting his Knights out of bolt range.
And we will see another Reliquary here again.
And it would be good to get that Savannah off the table and go find a forest.
That's definitely true. I think that plays like a huge role, actually, in this game.
I mean, even if he doesn't want to go get the fetch land, because it's possible that he's just like, well, looks like he's going to do it this way.
Yeah, he's just going to fetch it. He's going to activate Knight, as you said.
But
I guess he misses.
Yeah, he doesn't get the Noble Hierarch in play.
Yeah. Maybe potentially searching for a Dryad Arbor instead to add to the clock.
It's possible.
Does that add much?
Probably not, though, because this is his only green. All of the knighting will be over.
Okay.
It's possible he just wants to leave the mana open in case he needs to wasteland his own Karakas in response to a Price of Progress. But
so we see another Vortex here from Sullivan. Both players are at 13. We'll see what Knight is going to go grab.
Ross having to respect Fire Blast.
Search for Wasteland.
Apparently does not want to lose to Price of Progress.
Also, one of the interactions that he can put together is he can actually Wasteland his own Caracas, making those knights bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 12 right there, right?
Yeah.
And then the Sulfuric Vortex kills Sullivan on his upkeep.
Yep. Sullivan will have to respond to the Vortex triggers on the stack, and if he can kill him,
which I would be surprised if he can, but particularly with Ross having no land in play.
And that Horizon Canopy is actually going to lock this.
That's 14 damage right there, right?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Because Horizon Canopy is going to draw a card. It was one of his outs in the situation. And
Very tight play from Ross.
Yeah. Wastelands his own land, and he's shoving in for what looks to be 14 points of damage.
All right. Ross takes a quick game 1. Up 1-0, Maverick versus Burn.
Mulligan 5, no problem.
On the mull to 5.
It looks like Pat drew, too many Sulfuric Vortex. He's only playing 3 in his deck, but not enough ways to just unload his hand really quickly and just get the game over with. Sulfuric Vortex really did him in that game.
Now Patrick's going to be boarding in Searing Blaze at the very least. A very potent weapon versus these creatures that you want to kill. Do you think he'll bring in Ensnaring Bridge?
I would be surprised if we brought Ensnaring Bridge in just because there are Gosali Pride Mages in Ross's deck, so it's not like it's going to be much of a problem. 4 Green Sun Zeniths, 2 Gosali Pride Mages. If he wants to deal with Ensnaring Bridge, it's not going to be too much trouble for Ross, honestly.
And at the end of the day, Ensnaring Bridge doesn't stop, even if you have no cards in hand, it doesn't stop a Noble Hierarch from getting in there.
Correct. The other things that Ross does have in his sideboard, as we are going to actually cut to trivia, so we'll go over Ross's sideboard in just a second.
So much sideboarding to discuss, but first,
you or me?
All right,
you.
Me. If you insist.
Yep, I always do.
All right. Today we talked about a new combo deck, or a somewhat new take on a combo deck. I guess popularized by Tomohiro Saito.
Correct.
What is the name of the 10 casting cost card that he uses to push it over the top, and it's not Progenitus?
It's not Progenitus.
It's not Progenitus. We need a 10 casting cost card in Tomohiro Saito's deck. It was a combo deck that we discussed today, but a 10 casting cost, it is 10, right?
It
a 10 casting cost, whoever casts the card, a 10 casting cost card that pushes this combo deck, and by over the top, I mean it very well might just lose to a bunch of other decks, but
yes,
it has us talking.
It has us talking.
Hashtag SCG Premium, and send it to us at SCG Live. Let us know, and you got to spell it correctly. That's a tough one.
Spelling is key.
Yeah.
But they're spell checks, so I believe in you guys. I really do. If they spell incorrectly, do they still win?
No, but what they do win is 3 months premium if they spell it correctly and they have the right answer. 3 months of premium from StarCityGames.com, and that's that. We'll let you know the results after this match.
As we do see Ross looking through some things here as far as sideboarding is concerned. Again, looking over his sideboard, Elspeth is the kind of card that can push through damage very quickly. He has 1 Oblivion Ring in his sideboard, which he could consider playing to take care of Sulfuric Vortex if he really cares about that. There are also creatures in Patrick's deck, Grimlov-Mancer, Goblin Guide, but I think Sulfuric Vortex, being able to take care of that is very nice. Path to Exile potentially, even though it is a little bit narrow. Thrun, Gaddock Teeg doesn't have much of a home here.
The nice thing about Gaddock Teeg is at least it's a creature, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be boarding out... Well, how many dead cards does he have? Maybe just the 1 Sylvan Library, right?
Sylvan Library isn't fantastic.
Path to Exile.
Yeah, I don't like the Path to Exile in his main deck. Scrib Ranger, not the best. It's pretty good if he's stuck on mana. Fauna Shaman's okay, but Fauna Shaman can go through the back door and be able to find a Stoneforge Mystic. Be able to find him as Jit, so he definitely has some things that he'd like to cut.
Is there any chance he'd bring in Armageddon?
I can't imagine that he would, especially on the draw. I don't think that he would.
Because if he goes creature and if he goes, creature, and this is only when he's on the play, but if he goes creature and Sullivan tries to go burn to the face, a turn 3 Armageddon could be a winning combination with any creature,
Could be a way to steal a game. I guess realistically, it's also a way to steal a game on the draw, right? Like if he's not expecting it, he goes like Noble Hierarch, Knight, Geddon. Like Knight becomes a 5/5 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean Patrick can recover from Geddon pretty quickly, but if Ross has any kind of a meaningful clock down, it could be a way to steal a surprise one,
And again, Patrick's deck only plays 21 land, 9 actual lands, and then 12 fetch lands. So it's not like he has a ton of mana in his deck.
Yeah.
And the other thing, as you brought up Gaddock Teeg very quickly, an interaction I forgot is actually Gaddock Teeg shuts off Fire Blast. So it actually does have some applications in the matchup.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, both players definitely have options. I think the most obvious of sideboard options for both players is just Searing Blaze coming in for Patrick.
Yeah.
It's 100% going to come in. Not
What's
entirely
he gonna
sure what
take
it'll
out?
board
The Flame
out.
Rifts? Or probably the Flame Rifts, right? Either Flame Rift or Sulfuric Vortex?
I mean, do you really like Goblin Guide in this matchup? I think it's a really powerful card. How often is it going to get through?
I think it'll get through a fair bit, because if you have Goblin Guide, you can switch your Bolts and Chain Lightnings into removal mode, you know? Okay. Keep clearing the path. So Hedrick won 2-0 when his opponent looked at his list and left. Michael Hedrick's opponent,
that
Eric
actually
Brown.
happened?
Yeah, Eric Brown was the guy who snuck in on tie breaks with 2 losses playing Goblins.
Okay.
He took one look at Hedrick's Miracle deck with 4 Terminuses and walked away.
I can't win, verbatim.
Said, I cannot win, and just walked away. Wow. And the guy who came in 9th was, you know, on tie breaks. I think he would have loved a shot at Hedrick's title, but...
The fear.
Now, to be fair, he probably cannot win. He's playing Goblins against Terminus. But it doesn't, I mean, either way, maybe it's just too late. You know, it is a battle of endurance sometimes. When tournaments run long, it's already 9 p.m.
As we do see a little back and forth here, swords in Ross's graveyard. We see the Grim Lavamancer hit play for Patrick Sullivan. I'm blown away at what the news I've just found out as we see a Swords of Plowshares again.
No. Ross plowing Patrick's first 2 creatures.
See,
Patrick's still stuck on 1 land though.
Yes, he is, and we see his Riftbolt being suspended.
Get the party started.
And we actually see a Thalia over in Ross's hand, which is kind of interesting.
Now the funny thing is, Thalia just going to eat a bolt, but it is one that could actually eat one, you know? Because with this low of a mana base, if you don't play it now.
And the first creature that was sorted was another Grim Lavamancer, so it was not a Goblin Guide.
Yeah, you don't play the Thalia now because the Riftbolt could actually kill it.
Yep.
But after this Riftbolt hits, you know, you could actually, if you drop the Thalia, that completely locks Patrick out.
As Patrick finally finds
draw
a second land. And we're going to see Searing Blaze take care of that Noble Hire. Get that out of here.
Dude, I wish somebody would sit in a bottle Patrick.
Oh, the truth comes out.
I cannot, you can't just walk around playing Arabian Nights Mountains and expect that someday you're not going to have to pay the piper.
Yeah.
Alright, Thalia hits the table.
Alright, another land for Patrick. He draws Wooded Foothills this turn. Get your City of Bottles at StarCityGames.com store if you'd like to. I believe they are available if you ever do get paired against Patrick.
I would love it.
Thalia, he's checking it over just to make sure. It'll be interesting to see if he has another Searing Blaze or anything to be able to deal with this thing.
I think if he had a Searing Blaze, he would snap that off so quickly.
Because it is hampering his development.
Yep.
Maybe kicking himself for Searing Blazing that Noble Hire, but can you really blame him?
No. But I can blame him for the mountains.
You can, and it sounds like as though you are.
Correct.
We see a third mountain here from Patrick.
But you know what? God bless Douglas Schuler. Those are some nice mountains. Price of Progress. Take 4 while he still has the chance, you know. Savannah and Wasteland tapped.
Yep.
Gotta keep advancing the board.
It's interesting to see if that's going to bite Ross, because he could have, of course, chosen to pay it with a green and a Savannah, leaving the Wasteland available to blow up his own stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think he could even afford to do that in this position. If anything, he might Wasteland his own Wasteland, but not the Savannah. He needs that Savannah. So he has a Jitte. But I think it's too risky. If he plays the Jitte here, tapping out, if that Thalia dies, he's lost everything. He's like 2 turns behind.
Yeah.
Then again, he can't really win the race. Out of the Reliquary.
Out of the Reliquary here.
If the Thalia lived, there's a good chance the Night will too.
Patrick draws another mountain, so he's drawing
So he
lands
does have
to
a
get
Chain
out of
Lightning.
this.
So he's got the discipline to not Chain Lightning the Thalia. Interesting. I think Ross is way behind here. But if he plays a land, he can Jitte equip in one turn, you know?
Well, he's going to need to draw a land this turn so that he can Jitte equip, because the Jit's going to cost an additional one because of Thalia. So, and we know that he does not have a 4th land, so he's going to have to draw another one as we see a second price of progress here, putting Ross down to 6. Ross is going to draw a card, and it is another
Not a
reliquary.
land.
Okay.
Wow, Patrick denying Ross the ability to Jitte because of his own Thalia.
He snuck in his damage here, as we see. Now the reliquary. In for 2 with the Thalia. Knights are going to start getting larger. Clock is ticking.
I would be surprised if he lives through the turn.
Let's see what this is here. We see a Chain Lightning move upstairs to Ross. And do we have another 3-point spell? We're going to see a Fire Blast here from Patrick. Paying the 1.
Alright, so Patrick making quick work of Ross this time.
Able to work through Thalia, which is pretty tough, it looks like. Pretty tough to be able to work through.
He was stuck on one land for a little while.
Yeah.
But almost every card in his deck does the exact same thing. So it ended up working out. Patrick Sullivan tying it up 1-1 versus Ross Merriam. Not really a whole lot to this one. I mean, this is a pretty straightforward matchup.
It really is. It's about as straightforward as it comes.
Patrick is going to just present a... well, I mean, it's not even Patrick. Actually, most of the play is going to end up being on Patrick's part, because Ross has basically just got to present the best thing he can and put Patrick in the tough position of having to burn his creatures. Because as we saw in game 1, once Patrick has to start pointing his burn at Ross's creatures, he can actually run out of gas very easily. You know, like you need 6 or 7 burn spells to kill people, whereas Ross only needs 1 creature.
Yeah.
Patrick's deck several turns faster though, so if Ross can't provide some interactive element such as the ability to plow a big knight or stick a Jitte, he's just gonna lose.
And we saw that game that Ross was just 1 mana away, and for how much Thalia was able to provide, Patrick was able to draw out of it, drew some timely lands, so he was able to cast the spells and get the cards out of his hand to kill Ross. So Thalia kind of biting Ross a little bit. It was providing an advantage momentarily, but
I can't help but wonder, if he had not played the Thalia, if he just played Castali Pride Mage instead, a little more pressure initially, but also not having that Thalia in place so that he could just go Jitte, equip, attack, you know, all in 1 turn.
it makes you wonder how the game would have went. It really does.
So we're moving to game 3. And you know what? You got to play the Thalia when your opponent's stuck on 1 land. Actually, he wasn't, though. He had played a 2nd land.
Yeah, he had played 2nd land at that
But
point.
it does still shut out Flame Rift and Price of Progress and Sulfuric Vortex. So, hard to second guess that one, but...
And of course, you know, when Lava Spike and Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning cost 2 mana every turn, and you see that your only has 2 lands, I mean, tap my turn is deal you 3, my turn is deal you 3. I mean, I feel like that's where you want to be.
Right, because a 7-turn clock, he can beat a 7-turn clock.
Yes.
It's the 4-turn clock he can't beat.
Yeah.
All right, so we go to game 3. Patrick winning the easy one, aka the one where he's on the play. Now he's going to have to win one on the draw. Not the most important matchup to be on the play, though, by any means, you know? Like, a lot of the time, the extra card is worth as much as the extra mana.
Yeah. As Ross has kept his opening 7, Patrick looking over his, likely looking for at least 1 Searing Blaze. It seems incredibly important in this matchup.
Yeah, the Searing Blaze is like a Time Walk. You know, it's better than Time Walk. It's like 2 of the best thing for free, you know? Killing his guy, which costs him his entire turn, and hitting him for 3, which is all Patrick wants to do in a turn.
Just see Mother of Runes here from Ross to start, searching a basic planes, which is important to note.
So do you think Patrick's going to kill the Mother again? I mean, he did game 1.
He did game 1.
And this is not his first rodeo. If Patrick says that you Lightning Bolt the Mother Runes, I'm inclined to agree with him.
We're going to see a Grim Lavamancer here.
That's a much better way to deal with the Mother of Runes.
Alright.
So Ross,
presenting.
if Ross plows this Grim Lavamancer, though, that Mother of Runes starts to make it very difficult for Patrick to interact with Ross's creatures, and basically says, okay, you want to race? Now you're going to have to race me. It's a good race for Patrick, but...
It's a great race for Patrick.
At least it is a race.
Thalia.
Scrim Lavamancer looks like it's in a position to just eat away at Ross's forces, because it looks like he does not have a plow. Now the Mother of Runes obviously will be able to protect it once, but he'll be able to do the end step Lavamancer, untap Lavamancer.
Yep.
You know?
So let's see what Patrick draws here. And it makes you even wonder if, you know, if he's even going to bother trying to take care of the mom, you know, go through the different iterations of being able to take care of Mother of Runes, or if it's just all going to go upstairs.
Do you think Patrick's considered playing with Flame Break? Flame Break seems like it would be amazing in this position.
In this matchup, I think it would be very, very good.
I mean, it even eats through Pro Red.
You know?
It's like a Searing Blaze, all your guys, you know?
So see Patrick just sack a fetch land and pass the turn back to Ross.
Yep. He's going to grind out this Mother. The Grim Lavamancers allow for a very different sort of game from Patrick, where you can actually play a semi-controlling game.
So we see an attack for 2 here with Thalia.
And we do see a Jitte in Ross's hands. It's going to be tricky for him to ever actually connect with it, but if he does, that's like, I mean, that's his primary road to victory.
We're going to see a Green Sun Zenith for 0.
And this is going to find Dryad Arbor.
You see Patrick saying, all right, Grim Lavamancer, target your mom. We got to get this thing out of here finally, or at least try to. The question, of course, is he going to get 2 cards in the graveyard? Because, again, Thalia's going to make it difficult to play spells, so it's going to likely have to involve a fetch land.
Man, these Flame Rifts are tough. So if he doesn't have a 1-mana burn spell, he's not going to be able to kill the Mother this turn.
Even then, it's an interesting question, right? Like, are you, like, the shields are down for Ross. Do you want to take care of the Mother? Maybe you want to take care of the Thalia instead while the shields are down?
No, gotta take care of the Mother. Now, does Thalia make them cost 1 more, or counter them if you don't pay the 1?
Makes them cost 1 more. Non-creature spells cost 1 more mana.
I was gonna say, if it was counter, just play the Flame Rift and let it get countered, but...
We're going to see Searing Blaze, 1 and 1.
Alright, so he does have an answer for the Mother. It's 3 and 3.
Yeah, 3 and 3.
Now Lavamancer getting in there for 1? Oh no, he can't. Dryad Arbor. Yep.
Be interesting to see if he did attack with it, if he would consider trading.
Oh, I think Ross would snap block.
I mean, looking at Ross's hand, he didn't have a 3rd land going into his draw step.
Yeah, but that Lavamancer is such a liability. I mean, the Lavamancer could just kill the Dryad Arbor next turn anyway.
Yeah. And we're going to see Knight of the Reliquary. Patrick drawing a card. You see a Chain Lightning.
He's got several Flame Rifts in his hand.
Yep.
Flame Rifts definitely not at their best in this matchup. But Mono Red Burn is a cruel, cruel mistress.
Now he's going to have to figure out his way around this situation. Not knowing, of course, that Ross does have an Umezawa's Jitte in his hand. Jitte, excuse me, in his hand. So things are going to be getting pretty difficult for Patrick here.
Yeah, because I mean, most likely, he's going to end up in a position where he gets hit by the Jitte. You know, if he gets hit by a Jitte this turn, there's no coming back from that for him.
Yeah.
Against a very challenging matchup. I think Ross Merriam is going to emerge victorious from this. I mean, we haven't seen the extent of Patrick's hand, but it's going to be real tough for him to not get hit by a Jitte. And the first thing it's going to do is shoot the Lavamancer and threaten to gain 2 life.
Thalia just playing a huge, huge role in this matchup. Making everything cost more for Patrick is just a huge problem. You know, he'd like to be able to unload all of these spells in his hand, be able to take care of some of the problems he's had to go through hoops to even take care of a Mother of Runes.
Shoots the Thalia.
We'll see a land come down. And we're going to see a Sulfuric Vortex. Okay.
So he kept in both Sulfuric Vortex and Flame Rift. I'd be interested to know what he cut. Probably the Goblin Guides,
yeah,
then, isn't it? See, I still think the Goblin Guide would have been better in this position than some amount of this Flame Rift Sulfuric Vortex thing. You got to respect the Maverick beat down a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, Patrick Sullivan is obviously the Red Mage Master. Or I guess part of the Red Mage Master Alliance with Dan Paskins, Adrian Sullivan. There's a few of them out there.
Austin Yost.
Dave Price. I wonder if they have like a newsletter.
Maybe a forum.
Red Mages Weekly, Red Mages Monthly, maybe more likely. Or I guess given how often these decks win, more like Red Mages Quarterly.
As Ross is thinking through his turn, quite a bit here. I'm trying to think of an art. I think the acronym has to be RDW somehow.
Yeah.
It has to be. Red Decks Weekly, if you will.
I like Red Decks Weekly. Red does work. Not really. Alright. Knight of the Reliquary. Almost surely going to connect here. And the nice thing is, he's got Wasteland, so he can actually threaten to make the knight a 6/6. Even if he... Oh, is he not going to put the Jitte down?
A little surprised by that, as we
So
see Ethos
am
1
I.
Canonist here.
What could go wrong? I mean, he can't gain life, of course, but he can still shoot that Lavamancer.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the Pride Mage just makes it a better clock.
Draw a card.
So Ross, I guess, just wants to put out his Pride Mage so that he can sack to destroy the Sulfuric Vortex,
Yeah.
so that he can actually gain life and put this match away.
Yep.
And that's if he doesn't just kill Patrick with the threats on the table. Patrick's between a rock and a hard place here. That knight, threatening lethal. One more hit and he will die. And too many of his cards in his hand damage himself.
Cannon is playing a very interesting role. Not being able to play, again, basically the Thalia role. Can't play 2 spells in 1 turn.
It's interesting. If Patrick Price of Progresses, Ross will use his Wasteland and not have the mana to use the Pride Mage this turn, and not have enough mana to activate the Jitte next turn, most likely.
That is interesting.
Yeah. And without Thalia in play, Patrick can actually play a little bit, can potentially chain together a few, both a Price of Progress, a Chain Lightning, and a Grim Lavamancer activation.
Yep. Let's see what he's going to do here. Alright. So we're going to go after the Canonist. Okay.
He's got to hit the Canonist first so that he can actually chain all these things together in 1 turn.
Yep.
We're going to see the Price of Progress now?
Things through.
Because the knight will be big enough that he's going to have to block with the Grim Lavamancer.
It's getting to that point now. Knight is getting big enough now where it's going to be something
Well,
that
it's
you can't
lethal
just
now.
take.
Because the Wasteland's sitting.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, as long as Ross sees it. So if Patrick
Sculling turn.
fetches, which is fine. Does he have any hope of containing the knight? I mean, if he has a lightning bolt in his hand, he could actually Price of Progress, and then in response to the Wasteland, Bolt and Lavamancer the knight. That's a hard way to do it, though. Particularly when he's going to die to the Sulfuric Vortex on his upkeep.
Yep.
This is probably one of those situations where Patrick's just looking to see, alright, the only way I'm going to win is if my opponent makes a mistake. How can I lead the game in a spot where there's even a mistake for him to make?
Sure.
Maybe he needs to not Price of Progress and count on the Pride Mage hitting the Sulfuric Vortex. I don't know.
Let's see what happens. Flame Rift.
Gutsy. I like that.
Always gutsy.
Patrick Sullivan is nothing if not gutsy.
And he's gonna pass back.
Oh my god, if he taps out to... Oh! Wow! Patrick
Flame Rift Fire...
Oh my god! Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is how you play a red deck.
Oh my god.
And that's the match. Unbelievable. Ross cannot believe what just happened to him.
Patrick Sullivan.
That is how you play a red deck. My god.
Leading him. Oh
Jeez.
my goodness.
We're gonna need that. We're gonna need to get the tape on that one.
Put some steak on
Seriously, what we need, like this game, Patrick Sullivan should just have an article that is a replay of that game. Like, you want to learn how to play a red deck? Study that game. Watch that game once a day until you know how to play a red deck.
That is literally perfect use of...
Ross is broken.
Perfect use of his resources, and he ends both games with Umazawa's Jeet in his hand. Never gets a counter on it either game.
Unbelievable.
That game, electing not even to cast Umazawa's Jeet and looking at how he laid out his, like that turn, it makes sense, right? Like either Storm Canoness, Pride Mage, I have Wasteland available to blow up my own lands. I have Pride Mage available to blow up his Sulfuric Vortex. Like it makes sense why he wouldn't play the Jeet that turn. And then he just dies that turn.